So let's see what's going on with Assad here. Let's see if we can help him. So before we start the first question, he's running this little stall on the streets. I would like you all to choose one of the fruits. Which one of the fruits should he sell today? Send the answers on the chat, get involved in the question. Class is gonna run really, really fast today, don't worry. Right now, whatever you choose, you have to stick with that choice. And remember, everyone has the number 10 written on your paper, okay? Right, the new students get involved as well. Send your answers on the chat, type it up and send it. Only I can see your answers. All right, so whatever you choose, stick with it. And let's see what your choice beholds today. So for those who chose the apples, add 40. For those who chose the bananas, add 15 to your score. And unfortunately, for those who chose the watermelons, only add 3. So it seems like apples were the best choice for Assad to choose today. All right. Right. And Anaya, please use your full name on the Zoom. All right. Please use your full name. All right, guys. So update your scores. And we're going to the first question today. All right. So this question is actually based on similar triangles. Get started on the question. I'm going to give you like a 2 to 3 minutes to work it out. Send your answers on the chat. Like I said, don't be shy. Only I can see your answers. And then I am going to work it out. And we're going to see if you get it right or wrong. And then after, I'm going to make the question a little bit harder, just in case you all get a harder question. Good luck, and I await your answers. All right, so if you all look at part 1, if you look at the triangle, I think you all could safely see 2 triangles nested, one nested in the other. So there's a small triangle. The first one is AEB. So I drew it in blue, right? And then there's a bigger triangle. So let's put in some measurements here. And I realized some people fell for the very small trick in this question. I think everyone could agree that this here is 6 centimeters and this here is 4 centimeters, correct? Am I right or am I wrong? Or do I have something wrong on the screen? What do I have wrong on that screen? And a lot of people fell for this trick, but based on their answers, right? From A to C is definitely not 4. From B to C is 4. But from A to C is the 6 plus the 4, which is 10 centimeters. Now, how do you get the scale factor? The scale factor, well, call the blue one the old triangle and call the bigger one the new triangle. So what you want to do is pretend that the old triangle was small and then it grew up to be the new triangle. To get a scale factor, you take the one of the lengths of the sides, which is 10, and then you divide it by the old length. That's how you get the scale factor. Now, a lot of people are accustomed with the scale factor being a whole number, but today it's not a whole number. We're going to get 10 divided by 6. Obviously, if you reduce this, it's 5 divided by 3, or 1 2/3. Now, my preference for the answer would be 1 2/3. I'll put my answer as a mixed fraction. Obviously, if you leave it as what? An improper fraction, you're still going to get it correct. My advice is do not put it as 1.66 or 1.67. 2/3 is such a familiar fraction. The examiner is going to want to see the fraction, believe me. All right, so for those who got it wrong, you think you understand it now? The enlargement factor is 5/3 or 1 2/3. Great. Now, let's go with the trick for part 2. So apparently the area of the triangle ACD, they want you to find the area of the big triangle, given that the area of the small triangle, so let me write it here, the area of the small triangle is 18 centimeters squared. Let me just change up the question to make it a little bit easier before we tackle the real question. Let's just say, I'm just saying this, right? let me erase a few things, right? If I were to change up this question, and instead of 4, right, I erase this and I put 12 centimeters over here. So you see the slide change. That means that from here to here would be how much? How much would from A to C be now if I were to change this question? Let me know in the chat. Well, what would be the distance from A to C? Akira, correct. Arnish, correct, right? It would be 18, right? The 6 plus the 12. Who could tell me what the enlargement factor would be in my made-up question? Well, what would the enlargement factor be? No eyes here, that's wrong. I have 2 eyes here, sorry. The enlargement factor would be 3, not 2. Because remember, the new measurement is 18 and the old measurement is 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3. So the enlargement factor is 3. So you could safely say that the triangle got 3 times larger. That's a fair statement. But let me break that down. When an enlargement factor is given a value, like in today's question is 3, that refers to the lengths. The lengths of the triangle got 3 times larger, not area. Area and lengths are obviously 2 different things. First of all, lengths are measured in centimeters, but area is measured in centimeters squared. So let me show you how the examiner could trick you in the exam. Based on my made-up question, if the area of the first triangle is 18 centimeters squared and it got 3 times larger, and I ask you the area of the new triangle, you know, I'm going to do the wrong thing. You know what most students will do? They will say, well, if the scale factor is 3, then the area would also get 3 times larger. So common sense would say 18 by 3 is 54. How much of you all agree with that answer for my made-up question? That if the lengths got 3 times larger, then the area would also get 3 times larger. Anjana, correct. Lynn, correct. Right, that is wrong because we're talking about the areas. The truth is, if the scale factor is 3, that means the lengths got 3 times larger, then the area just get 3 squared times larger. I know it's a lot to digest, right? But whenever you're trying to figure out how much the area increases by, you have to take the scale factor and square it because area is something squared. So who can calculate the correct answer for my made-up question? Take 8 and multiply by 3 squared. 3 squared is obviously what? 9. So you just take 18 and multiply by 9. So send the answer in the chat here. I want to make sure you're paying attention here. 3 squared, right? 162, right? So the correct answer for my made-up question would be 162. All right? Don't worry. If you got this wrong, you won't believe the amount of people that get this particular question wrong. Some students do add maths and still get this question wrong. Okay? So let's go back to the original question, right? Remember the scale factor of the original question. The answer for part 1 was 1 2/3 or 5/3. So if the area of the old triangle was 18, do you all think you all can calculate the new area for the large triangle, knowing that the scale factor is 5/3 or 1 2/3? Send your answer on the chat and let me see if you really grasp the concept of it. All right, so let me work this out. I just want to show you how I would actually write it in the exam. Remember, to get the new area, so the area of what? ADC, you have to take the old area and multiply by the scale factor. Now, the scale factor, I'm going to either use the mixed fraction or the improper fraction. I'm going to use the improper fraction because it's easier to square an improper fraction. You notice I have it like this, right? So all you have to do now is work out 5 on 3 squared straight on your calculator and multiply by 18. Or you could go brave and do it like this. When you have a squared here, it belongs to both items in the bracket. So 5 squared is 25, 3 squared is 9. 9 into 9 is 1, 9 into 18 is 2, 2 by 25 is 50, and don't forget to put your centimeters squared. All right? Now, if you have a calculator and you know how to use your fractions button, you can just go type it in straight and get your answer. The examiner is not going to make a fuss for that. But I'm telling you, if you put 1.67 or 1.66 in the brackets and square that, a rounded off value, you're going to lose some marks in the exam. All right? Jaim, you saw your mistake. Jaim Hunt, you saw your mistake. Kira, you saw your mistake. Right? Always give me feedback, and guys. All right, so what I want to do now, I want to take this same question and I want to make up my own question and see if I could pull a small trick on you. In case you're wondering, the name of this topic is similar triangles. So I'm just going to clear everything on the screen. Going back to the original question. So we start off with this question. If the length from here to here is still 10 and this is 6, let's say that the length from A to E only A to E, right, is 8.5 centimeters. Here's what the question, right? And I've actually seen this question come. I want you all to use similar triangles theory to find the length of X. Now look at it carefully here. X is only from E to D. Try that and let me see if you fall for the trick. You're going to have some cross multiplication to do and some transposing to do with it, right? All right, so similar triangles, right? They're going to give you two triangles. One triangle is going to be smaller, the other one is going to be the larger one. We're just going to call the first triangle, triangle 1, the second triangle, triangle 2, right? How similar triangles work, and whenever I'm given two similar triangles, I always like to draw back the two triangles in case one is nested in the other. In similar triangles, everyone pretend that the sides are growing up, that the 6 centimeters grew up to become 10 centimeters, right? And AE is 8.5 centimeters, and then he grew up to become AD. What expression should I put for AD? Who can tell me what to put where this arrow is? To take a guess, don't overthink it. From A to D, what expression should I put there? It will be something plus something. Let's just say give a little jump start there. Take a shot, take a shot. Right. 8.5 plus X, right? I think when I write it, it will obviously make sense, right? Because if here's 8.5, then the full length is 8 point, oh, sorry, it's wrong with my pen there, 1 second, right? 8.5 plus X. So you could safely say now, the 8.5 grew up to become 8.5 plus X. How similar triangles work? Every time you take a length, the original length, and divide it by the grown up length, so 6 divided by 10, you will always get the same answer if you do it for another side. So if I take 8.5 and divide it by its grown up side, both answers are supposed to be equal to each other, hence an equal sign. So all you need to do now is cross multiply and solve for X. For those who didn't get this, like you didn't understand how to go about getting the formula or the equation, you think you want to quickly cross multiply now and solve for X? I will be cross multiplying this diagonal first, although it really doesn't matter which diagonal. Take 1 minute and see if you can solve for X, which is the aim of the question. Good luck. So when we cross multiply, right, we're going to take the 6 and multiply it by the 8.5 plus x, right? So we're multiplying the 6 by this. And you put it equal to the other cross multiplication. This one I could do in my head. 8.5 by 10 is 85. Who could tell me what is written wrong on the screen? I know it's a small mistake I just made on purpose, but you could tell me this small mistake, something the examiner will take away marks for. What small mistake did I just make there? Joseph, correct. Well, no, Daniel, I'm going to solve for x, but right now on the screen, something is written wrong. Could you tell me that what is written wrong? Right, Daniel Hunt, you are correct also. Guys, remember, I am multiplying the whole 8.5 plus x by 6. Shouldn't I put this in brackets to signify the whole expression is being multiplied by x? You will lose marks for that in the exam. Whenever you write it like this in the exam, you know what this really means? This means only the 6 and the 8.5 get multiplied. The x does not get multiplied. You will lose marks for that, right? So you have to make sure to put the whole thing in brackets. So now we're going to take our time and multiply both items by 6. Super simple, but super important. 6 multiplied by 8.5 is 51 plus 6 multiplied by x is 6x. You see, if you did not put the brackets, you would forget to multiply the x by the 6. So let's quickly solve for x. Let's transpose, take positive 51, throw it across, get minus 51. So 6x is equal to how much? 85 minus 51. I'm getting 34. The x's are multiplied, throw it across, you get a divide. I'm running out of space, but I'll put the answer over here. 34 divided by 6. I'm going to get 5 and 2/3. I know I'm going to get 5.666666, but put the answer as a fraction, since 2/3 is such a popular fraction. So x is 5 and 2/3. Right? For those who got it wrong, you think you have a better understanding of it now? Right? If you put this as a mixed improper fraction, you're still going to get it correct. Okay. All right. So that's all I could think about modifying this question and trying to predict how the examiner is going to try to trick you. All right. For those who just need a few seconds to take down everything on the screen, I'm going to give you 20 seconds and we're going to move on to the next question. Right. All right. So before we move on to the next cutscene with Assad and helping him run his food store, I want you all to solve this simultaneous equation. But even though the examiner did not tell you which method to use, I have to insist we use the substitution method. Right? Now, I'm going to give you some advice before you start up the question. Whenever you have to use the substitution method, remember, you label it equation 1 and equation 2. It doesn't matter which equation you choose first. You could choose 1 or you could choose 2. But you want to make the easiest choice to make your life easier. On the chat, which one do you think would be the easier equation to work with, to choose, 1 or 2? Now, the answer is 2, guys. Some people are saying 1. Let me explain why it's easier to choose equation 2 first. Let me write back equation 2 here. And in the exam, write the instructions. If you choose an equation 2, choose equation 2. You're going to get marks for all your working. Because when you choose equation 2, and I'm writing it back here, remember, when you choose your first equation, you have to either make x the subject or y the subject. Isn't it super easy to make x the subject? Because you would only just have to throw across the positive 5y. If you chose equation 1 and you try to make x the subject, you would have to throw across the 3y and then divide everyone by 2. You're going to end up with fractions and whatnot. Even though you're going to get the same answer, you're going to make life hard for yourself. So always choose the easy way out with questions. So you think you all could complete it here for me? Choose equation 2, make X the subject, and then substitute it in the correct equation. Good luck and send your answers on the chat. And Xavier, you already have your answers. Okay, great. So remember I said I was going to choose equation 2. It's written on the screen there. I'm going to make X the subject. So I'm going to throw across positive 5y. You're going to get minus 5y. So we have X is equal to 23 minus 5y. Now remember, we cannot squish these two together to get 18 because he has a y and he does not have a y. So you have to leave it like that. So that's equation 3. Quick question, and I realize some people are making this mistake. Are we supposed to substitute 3 into 2 or substitute 3 into 1? What's the correct equation to substitute 3 into? Right, it's 1, because you're supposed to, you see, when you get equation 3, you're always supposed to substitute it in the 1 you did not choose. Remember, we chose 2, so we have to put it into the 1 we did not choose. If you ever take equation 3 and you put it in the 1 that you chose in the first place, the two equations will boil down, the equation will boil down to 0. Everything will just disappear in the equation, right? So we're going to put it in the equation 1. So let me take my time here. Equation 1 is 2x plus 3y is equal to 18. Remember, 2x, we can throw away this x and replace it with what? With 23 minus 5y. But remember, when you replace it, please remember the brackets. That's a general thing in maths. When you replace a letter with something else, you have to put it in brackets. And that's not only for you to get marks. That's to remind you that everybody here gets multiplied by the 2. Right, so I'm running out of space, so I'm going to go here, multiply everyone here by 2. You're going to get 46 minus 10y plus 3y is equal to 18. Keep all the y's on one side. I'm going to make a mistake on purpose. I want you all to pinpoint this mistake because I noticed one person made this mistake. I'm going to throw across the positive 46. You'll get 18 minus 46, right? And then what you're left with on this side, 3y and the 10y. What mistake did I make? Spotted. See if you can see the mistake I made. I wrote something wrong on that screen on purpose. Chelsea, correct. Anjana, correct. Great. You all realize I forgot the minus sign here. It's very easy to forget a minus sign when it comes first in a sentence because your brain not accustomed seeing a minus sign first. So this automatically just leave it out. Be very, very careful. Minus 10y plus 3y is minus 7y. 18 minus 46, I cannot do that in my head. 18 minus 46 is minus 28. The 7 is a multiply, throw it across, you get a divide. When you throw across a multiply, the sign does not change. 4. Y is equal to 4, but we're still not finished. We still need to get the x value. To get the x value, we run back to equation 3. X is equal to 23 minus 5y. And we just figured out y was 4. So we end up with 23 minus 20. 5 by 4 is 20. So that means x is 3. Now we're finished. We can safely tell the examiner x is 3 and y is 4. For those who got it wrong, you think you understand it a little bit better now? And the only reason you probably got it wrong is because of simple sign errors, or you may have just forgotten the brackets, because I know you're all doing simultaneous long time. It's just when you're under a little pressure, you just make these silly little mistakes. And the class is being fully recorded, right? So after class, you can always get the recording. All right, guys, let's help Assad here. Let's make the correct choice. For those who came to class a little late, we're just helping this guy make some extra money. What should Assad sell on the streets today? Pears, carrots, or that looks like cabbages or cabbage. I don't even know the plural. Let me know on the chat. Let's see if you're lucky today, guys. Pears, carrots, or cabbage. What should he sell today? Send the answers on the chat. Make it funny, make it a little fun. So most people are saying carrots, right? I guess it's nice, bright and orange. All right, guys, let's test your luck. Whatever you pick, you have to stick with it. You can't change your answers. For those who chose the carrots, great job, $5. Add 5 to your score. For those who chose the pears, not too bad. You still got 3, add 3 to your score. And sorry, guys, for those who picked the cabbage, it wasn't a good idea to sell cabbage on that particular day, so you don't have to add anything. All right? Update your scores, update your scores. At the end of class, we'll see who has the largest score. Let's move on, guys. All right, so here's a question. Good luck, and send your answers on the chat. I'm not too sure if you will be able to send part 2 on the chat. That might be too difficult to type up, but at least let me know when you are finished. For part 1, it's just a simple substitution question. So let me write it back here. R is equal to 2p squared q minus 3. Now, all they want you to do is replace p with 6 and q with 12. So replace the p with 6. Now you notice when I'm doing it, I'm putting it in brackets. Any replacement that you make, you replace it in brackets. Now I think I know what went wrong with some people's answers. Tell me which is the correct way to do the top part. And some people typing it in wrong on the calculator. Should I say 2 multiplied by 6 squared on the calculator? Or should I square the 6 first and then multiply it by 2? Well, which is the safer way to type in that on the calculator? The first way or the second way? The one on top or the one underneath? The safer way is the underneath one, right? Because your calculator can misinterpret the first one. You see, this squared only belongs to the 6. Depending on how you type in the first one, you might say 2 by 6 first, which is 12, and then you square. That's the wrong thing to do. All right, so my advice is work out the brackets first. They taught you that in primary school anyway. Or form 1, you work out brackets first in any case. So let's work this out. 6 squared is 36 multiplied by 2. I'm getting 72 on top. And 12 minus 3 is 9. 72 divided by 9 is 8. So if you got 8, congratulations. So stick to your basic rules, like bud mass and whatnot. It's helpful. All right. Now, question 2. Let's work this out from beginning to end, right? You're going to have some cross multiplication also. Right, so I don't think you have much to learn in the first question, except that, taking your time with bud mass and whatnot, right? Erase this here. All right, so what do we want to do in the first question? In the second question, you want to make Q the subject. So let's write it back here. 2p squared divided by q minus 3. Everyone can agree that r is the same thing as r on 1. The reason I'm putting the 1 is so that you have a fraction on one side and exactly one fraction on the other side. It gives me an excuse to cross multiply. So let's cross multiply. It doesn't matter which diagonal you cross multiply first. It really, really doesn't matter. So I'm going to cross multiply this first. R multiplied by q minus 3 is equal to 2p squared by 1. Anything multiplied by 1 is itself. We are good there? Everyone understand up to that step? We're trying to solve for q, so we cross multiply. I'm glad instead of saying yes, sir, or yes, only one person decided to correct me. Anybody want to correct me? I made the same mistake that I purposely made a few slides ago. Come guys, because I'm doing this on purpose. I want you all to correct me when you see something wrong on the screen. It's for you all, right, to do that. I'm going to constantly do this, make mistakes, see if you pull up my socks and whatnot, right? I forgot my brackets. Super important, okay? You have to multiply every one inside here by Q. Now you could do that. Let's see. If you want to solve for Q, right? Couldn't I just throw across the R one time since the R is a multiply? And I could just throw it across and get a divide. So there are two ways to do this question. Let's just take the easy way out. So you have 2p squared. The R is a multiply, throw it across, you get a divide. And now we just have to solve for Q, which means we have to throw across the positive 3, right? To get minus positive, sorry, the minus 3 to get positive 3. And that's the end of the question. Now that's the easiest way to multiply it out, right? So if you choose to multiply every one in the brackets by R and then solve for Q, you will end up with the same answer. But this is the easiest way to do it, right? Now, there's a harder version to this question, but I haven't prepared a few slides down. All right, so take down what you need to take down. Like I said, this wasn't the hardest question. We have bigger fish to fry today. Right, take a 20 seconds. For those who need a breather, you have 20 seconds. So let's multiply the brackets and see if we truly get a different answer. So let me erase this, right? It's worth investigating. You can learn something. We can learn something from this. So if we multiply the brackets, we're going to get, let me start up here. I need more space. R by Q is RQ minus 3R, right? So all I did was multiply everyone in the brackets by R. We're trying to solve for Q. So the first thing you want to do in this case now is throw across the minus 3R. You're going to get 2p squared plus 3R, okay? And then we still want to solve for what? Q. So this R is a multiply. But you have two items waiting on this side. So what you could do, you have to be real careful. There's two ways to write this. You have to divide the entire other side by R because you're throwing across the multiply. But doesn't this mean everybody on top gets divided by R individually in any case? So you can rewrite it like this. The 2p squared that gets divided by R and the 3R also gets divided by R. But when you simplify this, nothing could be simplified here, but won't the R and the R cancel out here? Giving you the same exact answer, and you are required to simplify it in any case in the exam. Right, so everyone understands that the second method will give you the same answer at the end of the day. All right. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next question. Let's see what hopefully the other one is harder. I like this question. I know some of you have problems with proportionality, especially inversely proportional. Good luck and send your answers for E. This question is inversely proportional, right? Now let's put this statement in maths form, right? Y is inversely proportional. Whenever something is inversely proportional, you see the letter it's inversely proportional to goes underneath a 1. Always, always. That's what inversely means. You put the second letter underneath a 1. That's standard. What, I'm not too sure if you all knew this in maths. Whenever you see a proportional sign, it's okay to replace it with an equal and a K, right? So let me just write it back properly for you all. Y is equal to, who can tell me what I just did wrong? I just threw away the proportional sign, and because it's inversely proportional, I write the equal and I put the K underneath. Now, it's not brackets. Brackets is not a trick this time. Right. A lot of people just make this mistakes. The K actually goes on top. It does not go underneath. The K is always, always on top. So this is the correct way to update this statement. And the K stands for constant. Your job is to find the constant. And once you find the constant, it will never ever change. Hence the name constant. So to find K, the examiner has to give you a full set of values. He is saying that when X is 2, Y at the same point in time is 8. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to replace the Y with 8 and the X with 2. So let me write it here. 8 is equal to K on 2. And we just have to cross multiply to solve for K. How much is K going to be? Everyone can do this. It's simple. You can do this one in your head. How much is K if we cross multiply? Right, easier, correct. And Joseph, check it back, check it back. It's cross multiply. Chelsea, check it back. Right? Joseph, Kensha, check it back. This is cross multiplication. Remember, we cross multiplying. K by 1 is K. 8 multiplied by 2 is 16. Right? So the value of K is 16. It's cross multiplication, not cross division. All right. So once we figure out what the value of K is, guess what we could do? We go back to the formula, erase K, and put it and replace it with the value that it's supposed to be. As simple as that. Now the examiner wants us to find the value of Y when X is 32. Isn't that super easy to do now? To find Y, we just have to take 16 and divide it by X. How much are we pretending X to be? 32. So Y is 16 divided by 32. Send the final answer, guys. How much is 16 divided by 32? The answer is not 2, guys. Real people sending the answer 2. The answer is not 2. 16 divided by 2 is 0.5 or a half, right? For those who sent 2, you understand your mistake, right? The 16 is on top, the 32 is underneath. You type it in wrong side by mistake, right? Right, so I hope everyone who got it wrong, you understand it a little better now, right? Inversely proportional. It's a little different from its twin brother, directly proportional, okay? All right, time to move on. Let's see what the next question holds for us. Or if it's a slide, a cutscene. I always like the cutscene. All right, we have a little cutscene here. Right, so Assad has hired a musician to, you know, attract people by his store. What type of music should the person play? Which type of music is going to attract the most amount of people? Choose, guys, jazz, dubstep, or blues. Stick with your answer, right? You cannot change it. And get ready to update your score. All right, let's see who got lucky. The correct answer was jazz, right? But dubstep wasn't too bad. That's $10. But playing the blues, I guess that would make everyone sad and not come to your store. Right? Update your score, guys. Update your score. At the end of class, we're going to see who has the highest score. Send me an update now, guys. Well, what's your score so far? I want to see who has the most amount of money. Who made the 3 best choices? Isaiah 35. Kadira, you're down there. Somebody has 40, but Soraya's $85. You made some really good choices. Good, good. Jordan, you're doing Chelsea, you're doing bad with it. All right. Yes, Iron, you have to add the 10. Remember, you start off with $10. That was the original amount of money, right? All right. Maurice, this is your first win. All right, guys, let's go. Let's go. All right, so I wanted to make sure and do this question. Take a try here, guys. This is a closed cylinder, meaning that there's a cover on top and a cover underneath. What is the total surface area of this? It's a long question. Eh? If you get out this question in under 1 minute, you did it wrong. Believe me. Take your time. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes. Think it through, then send your answers. No problem, Chelsea. All right. If we take a cylinder, let's say this is a piece of cardboard, and we cut it down the middle here. When we open it, does everyone agree that we will get a rectangle? And on top, that's the lid for the top and the lid for the underneath. Can everyone imagine that if we were to fold the middle back like a circle and then cap the top and cap the underneath, we would get back the original cylinder? To try to use the imagination there. Let me know in the chatter, because it's really important that you can imagine this. If you can't, the whole question is not going to fall into place. All right. All right, so let's get some measurements here. It's obvious that from here to here is 12 centimeters. And from here to here is 12 centimeters. Is that 12 centimeters the radius, or is that the diameter? The radius, great. How do you find, now to find the total surface area, we just have to find the area of all the shapes, which is 2 circles and a rectangle, and add them up, right? To find the area of a circle, by now everyone should know it's pi multiplied by radius squared, and the radius is 12. So everyone calculate the area of the circle for me. You can use the pi button on the calculator, or you can use 22/7. You'll get slightly different answers, but let's not fight about that. Find the area of the circle for me, right? I'll put the answer on this side here. I'm running out of space here. Pi multiplied by radius squared. So it's just pi, where's my pi button? Pi multiplied by 12 squared. Right, and you can put the answer roughly to 2 decimal places. I am getting 452.39 centimeters squared, right? I'm running out of space, but I'm already supposed to put centimeters squared. If you use 22/7, you're going to get a slightly different answer, but anything close to 452, all right? Now, the circle underneath is just a replica of the one on top. So he's also going to be 452.39 centimeters squared. We don't need to rework the underneath one. All right, for the rectangle now, a rectangle, the area is length by breadth. Now we have the breadth. We know the breadth is 8 centimeters. We can see this from the diagram. But we do not have the length of the cylinder. Can't we all agree that the length would be equal to the circumference of the circle? Because we are taking the circle and opening it up. So the circumference, while we are opening it up, becomes the length. Do we agree with that? The circumference of the circle becomes the length. Make sure you can imagine it. So all we need to do now is find the circumference of a circle. There are 2 formulas to find the circumference of a circle. I'll put capital C. You can use pi multiplied by diameter, or you could use what? 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by r. Multiplying r by 2 is different from r squared. It's very easy to mix up the circumference formula and the areas formula, right? So before exams, just try your best to tell yourself that there is a difference. I'm going to use the second formula because I know the radius is what, 12. Work out the circumference, 2 by pi by 12. It's normal r, just regular boring r. It have no squared. 2 by pi by r. Round it off to 2 decimal places, but we'll get something nice if you round it off to 2. We will, tell me if you're getting this, 75.40. Because it's 75.398. If you round it off, we're going to get 0.40. So we know the length of the rectangle now. 75.40. So can't we find the area of the rectangle now? Length by breadth. 75.40 multiplied by 8, and I'm getting 603.2. Find the total surface area now. You just add in all three answers. 1, 2, 3. Add up all three areas, and that gives you the full surface area. And I'm getting this for my final answer. Where do I have space? 1,507 roughly 0.98 centimeters squared. Right? Sorry. I confirm it, just don't sit down quiet in class. Huh? You make sure and work it out. Make sure you physically see that appear on the calculator. Right? If you got 0.96, don't worry about the 2 decimal places. It all depends on how much you rounded off here, how much you rounded off here. It also makes a difference if you use the pi button versus 22/7. Once you have the 1507, count it as correct. Right, so give everybody a couple of minutes to confirm it, right? Right, and people are understanding where they went wrong. Good, good. All right, moving on, guys. Let's go. We have a lot of things to do. Oh, we have a little bonus wrong here. Okay, so here how this games work, right? How this game will work. You can collect an extra $13, but you have to guess a number between 1 and 20. 1 and 20 is included. So guess one number, send it on the chat, and if you guess it correct, you'll get to add $13 to your total. Stick to your answer. 1 and 20 are included in the guess, right? So 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 20. Let's see if you have any Saturday morning luck built into you. All right, let's see who has it correct, right? I'm going to reveal it now. Send the answers, send the answers. If you guessed any one of these numbers, add 13 to your score. Any other numbers, sorry guys, you did not win. 1106. Anybody won? Daniel, you won. Some people are upset. Add 13 to your score if you guessed it. Right? Be honest to yourself. Eh? You can't guess it obviously after I reveal it, right? You know, the game is only fun if you really pretend, and go with the rules. All right, let's move on. Finally, some trigonometry. I know some of you are just waiting for trigs to come. Good luck. You have 5 minutes to send your answers. The first part. So they ask us to find the angle ZXV. Z all the way to X, and you bounce back to V. That's this angle. Now, this is obviously based on a straight line. We all know a straight line is how much degrees? 180 degrees. So if you know here is 40 and here is 50, 40 plus 50 is 90. You're minus 90 from 180, you're going to get 90. Which means what kind of triangle is this? This is a right angle triangle. I'm just going to put the symbol here, right? So it's 90 degrees. Simple stuff, right? I bet that part was only worth 1 mark. ZVX. ZVX. That's this angle here. All right, so let me draw back that triangle so you can only concentrate on that. When you have too much triangles stuck together, causes a little bit of problem. A little hard on the eyes there, right? So this is what you basically want to focus on. This is the 90 degrees, V, Z, X. We know here is 15, we know here is 8. And they ask us to find this angle. Now it's a right angle triangle, right? So we could use sine, tan, cosine, Pythagoras theorem. Which one did you use to find V? Sine, tan, or cosine? Well, let me hear you on the chat. Which one is the correct one to use for that particular question? Nadia, correct. Alyssa, correct. Lynn, check it back. Victoria, correct. Christian, I'll take one more answer. One more answer. Which one to use? Sine, tan, or cosine? The new people, come on, come on. Let me hear you. Elizabeth, nah. Ramlal, check it back. All right. So if you're standing up here, now the hypotenuse does always be opposite the right angle. So this side is the hypotenuse. But this side is the opposite. If you're standing by this angle, this is the opposite. And this 8 is the adjacent. So only opposite and adjacent sides were given. That's tan. So let me draw back the formula for tan, right? Remember, tan theta is opposite divided by adjacent. So we want to find the angle. So tan V, right? That's the angle we want to find, is equal to the opposite divided by the adjacent. The opposite side is 15, the adjacent is 8. 15 divided by 8, right? We are going to get 1.875. I'm keeping all the decimals there because this is such a nice decimal. Draw across the tan because we want to solve for V. You're going to get tan inverse 1.875. So quickly work out that on the calculator for those who didn't provide an answer. And that will be our answer for part 2. Tan inverse of that. Right. Send it on the chat there. Right, and we are getting roughly what? 61.93 degrees. Right, so I'll put a little arrow here. Let me update my diagram. 61.93 degrees. Right. Part 3, the length of VZ. Well, it's going to be super easy. VZ is from here to here, and it's a right angle triangle. Couldn't we just simply use Pythagoras theorem to find that? Pythagoras theorem, anytime you're trying to find the hypotenuse, you have two other sides, the two regular boring sides, they're called legs. You take each leg and square it. So you take the 8 squared, you take the 15 squared, you add it, and then you do what after? Square root, but you press the square root sign last. 8 squared plus 15 squared, you're going to get 289, and then you square root that. How much of y'all got 15? Way before me. Right. Jay, you can be more specific. You asked me, how did you get it? You have plenty of things on this screen here. You want to tell me get what? I'll try my best to answer, but you'll be real specific. Oh, sorry there, Jordan, right? Well, I meant 15, right? I said 17, my mistake. Oh, how did I get V, right? Remember, you're trying to solve a V. So you throw across tan. When you throw across tan, the opposite is tan inverse. So you press second function tan on your calculator and 1.875. And you must make sure your calculator is on the correct mode. Make sure it's on degrees mode. All right, this last part, bearings. This is what has given a lot of people problems. The bearing of V from X. What is a bearing? A bearing is when you stand up and always face which direction? North. In a bearing, you always pretend you are facing north. And then which direction do you turn, guys, on a bearing? After you pretend you are facing north, do you turn clockwise or anti-clockwise? Isaiah Lewis, correct. Which direction do you always turn with bearings? Clockwise, correct. So the bearing, you pretend you're facing north, and then you turn clockwise, not the other way around. Okay. All right. So I have a lot of clearing up here to do, right? I had to erase a lot of things on the screen here. I just need to memorize this angle, 61.93. So let's clearing everything now. Right. The bearing of V from X. So that means we are standing by X. In a bearings question, you just have to look for the word from and the letter after that. And that will tell you where you are standing. Remember, this angle here was, I won't put it in yet, but we know here 61.93. So you are standing by X, facing north, and then you want to turn in a clockwise direction until you face V. How much will that pink angle be? Think about it. How much will that pink angle be? That's actually pretty easy. We don't even need this angle, this angle here. Joseph, I think you're correct. Jordan, I think you're correct. I'm waiting on your answers, guys. Waiting. Easier than you think. So we want to find this angle here, right? So we just, I'm gonna break this up into different colors so you can see it easier. Let me get green, right? From here to here, everyone can agree that is 90 degrees. Look at the green line, because a vertically straight line, right? Everyone could agree that's 90 degrees. And once you reach here, won't this be 180 degrees? Think about it. From here to here is a straight line. And this part here is what? 40. So shouldn't it be 90 plus 180 plus the 40? Let me know if that makes sense there for the bearing. So let me add it up there. 40 plus 90 plus 180. I am getting 310 degrees. All right. Make sure you understand it, right? Make sure you see it.